It's like, dude, I'm an old fat guy. Leave me
Why
alone.
are you always lying?
I kind of say that.
They're probably old fat dudes too, and they just want to rub fat together.
Oh God! All right. Host
That is
calls
a
time.
beautiful image in my mind. I'm not gonna lie.
And welcome everyone to the ICBG WoWCast episode 7. It's patch day! Yay! This is your host. This is your host, Rai, Holy Priest and Shadow Priest Extraordinaire. I'm with our esteemed panel of guildies and tonight a special guest. Let's get started with the introductions. First, we have the GM of the Ice Cream Bikini Girls, who definitely isn't a dude using voice mod. It's Tryhard.
Well, that's what you think. Hi, everyone!
Next, look out. This lady's on a warpath due to the new changes with today's pre-patch. It's Harisha.
Hello, everybody.
Next, we have the Holy Pally and Lore Master from the Lone Star State. It's Lucy.
Hey guys, if I could get my son to stop telling me about a snake and hissing at me, we could get this started.
And finally, for our regular panel, we have, sometimes he's right, but we don't like him to know that, it's Candy.
Because it always tastes like vinegar.
It tastes like vinegar. All right, and next we do have a special guest with us today. She is a old guildie who's no longer with the Ice Cream Bikini Girls, but we still love her. Maybe we can get her back one day. But she is a Canadian, and she easily has the biggest two-hander on this panel. It's Hot Pants.
Oh my God, Ryan. Hi there.
All right, welcome everybody. Hot, we're excited to have you. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so I know we all want to start talking about the pre-patch. I know everyone's hot to talk about it. It's been a very turbulent couple of hours, but we're going to pause that for a minute and let's do our normal weekly recap. We will talk about what we did in game this past week and what our plans are for the upcoming week. I know a lot of us will have the same answer there. Let's go ahead and start with Tryhard. Try, what have you been working on in game this week?
I was trying to get more mounts. So I got one from Entoran Waste. So I've been running around doing a lot of them, and it's from Silvermore, that mount there. So that was good. The rest I haven't had much luck with, but that one is one of the ones that when I'm running by and people are attacking it, I just hit it anyway, and I didn't know there was a mount on there, so I was quite happy when that happened. But I've been very quiet this week, unfortunately.
It's okay. It's the week before pre-patch. If there's not a week in game to be quiet, I think this would be it. Awesome. And do you have any plans for the upcoming week?
Well, I've tried to get onto the game and it's fighting me. So perhaps getting to the game would be a starter. I tried to turn it on and I think I was trying to do some cutscenes, maybe 2 or 3. And then it went to the loading screen and now I can't get in. So I'll work on that and then just get into it and see what's going on.
All right, great. Thanks. Harisha, let's jump to you. What did you work on this week and what's upcoming for the following week?
Still working on my smoldering essences for Terragosa. Slowly but surely getting there. And my biggest thing is I got Invincible.
Fibber.
I was there.
Did not. I got screenshots. I can prove it.
Yeah, well now you got to take him back to his grave. That's what you got to do.
Oh.
No, Harisha, again, this is just one of those lore master things. You don't get anything for doing that. Don't waste your time.
There should be something for that.
There isn't.
I thought I was done with ICC forever now, but evidently there's one thing I have to go back for and do 10 man on, but I'll do that probably as soon as we get done with this. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you were
cool.
already in Northrend.
I know, but I'm elsewhere now.
Like you live there.
I do. I live in Northrend because it's the auction house. It's either Northrend or it's my garrison. So that way I'm at an auction house because I'm constantly selling mats all day long.
Yet you still have no gold when we bring up things like contest winnings and stuff.
Hey, at least I'm not as cheap as Candy.
I am not cheap.
All right, thanks, Harisha. Let's go ahead and jump to you, Lucy. What's going on in game this past week and for next week?
Okay, well, yeah, you hear my child in the background? Anyways, yes, I get it. There's a snake in the show. Okay, I've been working on the Void Elf, really, and I almost got it to level 60. And that's all I've really been working on. I think Candy and I jumped on beta like this morning just to kind of pass the time till pre-patch started, but that was about it.
And any big plans for the upcoming week?
Right now, just kind of trying to corral all my all my characters, all my tunes and alts and stuff, just to redo talents and I guess set up some war mode on some of my lower ones to help them level. Because I actually found out while I'm playing this Void Elf, you can set it up at a low level and get the PvP talents. So it's pretty helpful.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks, Lucy. Let's go to Candy. Candy.
Well, let me see. I've actually had kind of a busy week in live. I completed the Prot Paladin Mage Tower appearance. It was actually pretty refreshingly fun. And then, because everybody in the world told me that pet charms are going away, they're all going to be gone, and I'm going to be sucking, and I really seriously want this silly toy, I went and started farming pet battles. And yeah, I know, right? It's like watching the grass grow. Then I got a whole bunch of them, and I finally pulled out my engineering degree and, started trying to remember a little bit about calculus and whatnot, and the math did not work out. So I kind of fizzled on that, only to find out that they're not really going away. They're changing the names, and you still get to keep the ones you have, and I'm still going to be able to buy the silly toy that I really absolutely desire. And that was my last week. What was the other question?
What are you working on for the upcoming week?
Yeah. Well, I'll probably be working on trying to log in. And then if I actually do get in the game, I'm probably going to keep it mellow and still do the pet battle stuff. I'll put my computer next to a window and watch the grass grow and do the pet battles. And then I like to run some, basic mythic stuff just to make sure that I know how to play my class now that they changed all the talents.
Yeah, that seems to be the recurring theme. It's good. By the way, just for the record, the questions I ask you at the start of every podcast episode never change every week. So it amazes me how you forget the second question.
Was that other question?
It amazes me. Every week they're the same. All right. Well, thank you, Candy. Let's go to our guest, Hot. What have you been working on this past week? I don't think it's been a ton.
I just actually renewed my subscription as you guys were talking, and I'm downloading this. So, yeah, nothing much besides that. Though I do want to ask how the Pally Mage Tower was for you.
Well, it was more difficult than I expected. See, I used to rank how what I thought the tanking goes for the Mage Tower, and besides the Guardian Druid being the most difficult thing ever in the history of the universe and stuff, I had Prot Warrior as the hardest, followed by DK, and then I had Prot Pally and whatnot in second place. But that is not the case. The Warrior is still
really hard.
Yeah, it's the second most difficult behind the Guardian Druid. Whew. And then the next one behind the Warrior would be the Prot Pally.
What item level did you go in as?
930.
Okay. I was pulling out my hair trying to get that done, but I digress.
So, yeah, I know you've been doing a lot of homework, though, on the pre-patch and what it means for your class. Which character are you going to be maining this expansion? Do you know yet?
I probably want to go with a DK because I promised I'd make one. I don't know. I still like my Paladin. I still like my Demon Hunter.
Oh, we'll have to check back in on you. Any big plans now that you've renewed your subscription? What you're going to be working on?
She's going to join Ice Cream Bikini Girls first, and then...
Oh, I got to do so much server transferring. I'm just really worried that, Proudmoore is going to get absolutely demolished by the Alliance, but we'll see how that goes.
Candy, can you speak to that a little bit? I know a lot of our listeners are from the Proudmoore server. In your experience, what has it been like?
Well, I mean, in the past, she's right. Everybody gets demolished by the Alliance because there's a billion Alliance to every Horde character. So it's, unless you go in a group and you stay as a group and you always play together as a group all the time and you want to flag PvP, you'll be okay. But if you do that stuff solo, you used to do it solo, you would just get smushed because, 3 or 4, 10 Horde would show up and just blow you up. But now, what they do is your realms, you don't always stay on the same realm. Some people call it sharding, other people call it, instances, whatnot. They're supposedly, and this is Blizzard, right? This is World of Warcraft. Supposedly, they're going to balance the PvP out to where, it isn't, one Horde versus a million Alliance. But
Yeah.
that's if you trust Blizzard, and I don't really trust Blizzard all that much. Hence today's patch.
Yeah. Well, like I was worried that BFA, if they didn't end up like essentially doing cross realm in a way, was absolutely gonna get it was gonna be a nightmare. So that's good. I just hope they follow up with that.
I guess we'll see. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because War Mode is now officially live. But real quick, my week. I did a little bit this week. I actually did a lot of pet battle stuff, but I wasn't doing it for Charms because I already have Narcissus Mirror. I learned this really cool thing. You can use Narcissus Mirror, which takes your appearance and transposes it onto whatever your companion pet is. I also used the magical pet biscuit to make my pet big. And so what I did was I took off all my clothes. I used Narcissus Mirror on a singing sunflower. And then I used a magical pet biscuit, and I have a giant naked singing me that follows me around. And it's super fun. So I've been leveling some pets. That's what Candy's going for because he's jealous.
Jelly.
Yeah, my pet is going to be a big naked blood elf female, and she's going to be a corgi. So she's going to wipe her butt on the ground, and I want to put a leash on her.
Oh, God. You can use a magical pet leash, can't you? Oh, God, that's a whole level of BDSM. So in addition to working on some pet battle achievements, I did some more work leveling my Alliance Druid. I will be upfront in that I'm still not super impressed with my new guild. It's a large guild, and not one person has made an effort to talk to me. And I've been on quite a bit, so we might be changing that up a little bit. I also farmed for some more of the Shadowmourne fragments and ICC on my Paladin. I'm up to 40 of 50, so I need 10 more, which is probably going to be about 2 more weeks of ICC. And then I got the Lego Mace from Ulduar this week, Valinar. So that was a fun one. I got my final 3 fragments this week, and then it sends you back to the Archivum in Ulduar to turn it in, and then you got to go do the Yogg Saron fight and throw something in its mouth when it does a certain move on phase 3. So the real trick was just not blowing up the boss in phase 3 until I got what I needed, but it was pretty easy. And then I ran ICC on all of my characters because I was jealous of Harisha with Invincible.
She didn't get it. That's a lie.
She got Invincible. I saw it pop up in guild chat. It happened.
Most of the guild went and ran ICC afterwards.
Yeah. I was like leading the charge. I was like, immediately upon learning that she got it, I'm like, port to Dalaran.
It's a dungeon though, isn't it?
It's a raid. It's an old raid.
Oh, it's an actual raid, so you can't just keep rerunning it, huh?
Yeah, once a week.
Ah, I see.
Kenny, how many years have you been farming for that?
Well, I've only farmed for it once.
A week.
On every tune.
On 20 tunes once a week. Yeah, totally.
Is it 20?
Uh-huh.
All right, guys, so let's dive in. Let's talk a little bit about today's pre-patch. Was anyone surprised by the fact that there were login issues?
That was my line. Stole it.
I mean, Blizzard never disappoints us with these things. There's never a glitch. There's never a hiccup. It's always perfect every time.
Everything is always working as intended.
Well, so I was talking to Candy about this earlier when it was going on, but they had login issues. They announced it. I expected them to announce about 3 hours before the downtime was posted that it was up and that the game was live. And of course they did. And then of course it immediately went down and stayed down for the following 3 hours. But I was a little disappointed in their response on Twitter again. It was, we'll have it up in a few minutes. At that point, restart your game and try to log in again. And they were posting that same message to response to people on Twitter every minute for like 25 or 30 or 35 minutes when I checked it. So I was like, all right, well, what's a few minutes then? If 35 minutes ago it was going to be up in a few minutes, what's a few minutes? And that's kind of brings me back to like the BFA pre-order. If you guys remember when I went through and did the pre-order for BFA, their credit card processor went down. And when I was trying to purchase it, it was like the authorization failed or a transaction failed, try again. And so it told you to wait a few minutes and click the order button again. And that's how I got charged for, I think it was 14 copies of BFA. So, I mean, I was saying to Candy, I can't imagine all of this. Wait, try again in a minute, try again in a minute, create a level 1 character and then try again. I can't imagine all of that helps, the engineers get servers back up. So I'm disappointed by Blizzard and their just trying to pump as many people through the small window as possible, which ultimately causes more problems.
Well, I tend to think that this is all part of the let's rush it out there to get it, to get it online, and maybe we'll get some more customers who aren't too upset about a crappy game that's really got poor design and nobody's really paying attention. But I digress. A lot of the bugs you're seeing right now was brought up in beta. I mean, I reported thousands of them, and basically they just didn't pay the beta testers much attention, and a lot of it went unnoticed and uncorrected, and it's very annoying. I mean, that black screen with that slowly dissipates, then you get the server screen with no characters on it, and if you wait another 5 minutes, the characters finally show up. That is exactly what you saw in beta.
Didn't that happen last patch as well? Like the last big patch?
It did. The 7.3.5 patch, there were some issues with characters disappearing on the login screen.
Lots of them too. So, yeah.
And this was an issue that they had back in the pre-patch for Draenor as well, where you finally got to your character screen, and when you tried to log in, it tells you character doesn't exist or no character found. That was an issue that they had 2 expansions ago. So it's like that's like history repeating itself all over and over again.
Well, now we can blame Bonsomdi.
Bonsomdi being the Loa of Death from BFA that only Candy and Lucy know about because they're the only ones in this podcast that played beta.
He's very funny.
I thought you played beta.
I mean, I played it for like 2 days, and then I was like, screw this shit, and then I left.
Like me in the Mage Tower. I tried it a couple times and said, screw this.
To be fair, back then, I didn't know Shadow Spec. So I was trying to solo stuff as a holy priest, and it was like a fucking nightmare. So, oh yeah, speaking of which, Golden Eye Blood Elves are officially out.
Terrible.
You can go to the barber shop, change your skin tone, and change your face to show the golden eyes.
They let you change your skin tone finally?
Yep, skin tone has been added. No new hairstyles, and no hair that's been fixed so it doesn't eat through your clothes. But I'm a little salty about that.
I mean, it's probably been like that forever. So.
No, it's been like that since the beginning. All right. So I know a lot of us were pretty much expecting the way this worked with Blizzard. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the class changes that we're seeing. I know for me, I'm really excited to see some of the changes to Holy Priest. There wasn't really a lot of change to the play style or the rotation, but I did get the addition of 2 new cooldowns that I'm really psyched to try out in Raid. One was Holy Word Salvation, which is a 2-second cast that heals... puts 2 stacks of Prayer of Mending on every member of your raid within 40 yards and applies Renew to every member of your raid within 40 yards, which was super cool. And I also got Symbol of Hope, which used to be a priest talent, but now it's a baseline for Holy Priest. I click the button and all healers in my raid get 20% of their mana back over 6 seconds. So that was a really fun one. So I still have Divine Hymn, so now I've got 3 major raid-wide healing cooldowns.
Well, wasn't Hymn of Hope back in Draenor too?
I don't believe so. I think it was still a talent back in those days.
I remember using it, but I can't remember if it was just stock standard or if I selected it.
Yeah, I remember we used to use it in raids because it was like a big cooldown, kind of like an innervate and stuff like that.
It's a 5-minute. It's a 5-minute cooldown.
Yeah, it was like Hymn of Hope. What does your Divine Hymn do?
Divine Hymn is the heal the raid for large amounts over 6 seconds.
It was Hymn of Hope, and it had like a face on it for the icon, like a helmet on the guy or whatever. Yep. Yeah, that was back in Draenor. It was a big cooldown to give us mana.
Yeah, and it's on a 5-minute cooldown.
Yeah.
So I'm not psyched about the Holy Word Salvation cooldown. That's 12 minutes. So that's pretty much once per boss fight.
Yeah, that's an oh shit heal.
That's the raid is tanking. Hurry up. What I don't get though is it's all hots. So I think it does do a small instant heal. It does an instant heal for a certain amount as well upon cast. So, but I mean, it's a big hot cooldown. So it'd be interesting to see like how that pairs with another hot healer like a druid. It definitely you wouldn't want to cast that during like a tranquility moment. But beyond that, Holy Priest didn't change. I don't know. Have you been looking into the Shadow Priest changes yet?
I kind of like discovering things as I get on and go, oh, these buttons are missing. Let me check my spell book. Okay, this has been added. That's kind of how I do it. Like, if people are talking about it, then I definitely listen. But I like to try sort of discover things on my own because I turn into one of those lazy people that will just always do things the same way unless I experiment and play and sort of do it on my own over in the corner by myself, sort of thing. So I'm waiting and seeing.
Yeah, well, big one, spoiler alert, they removed Shadow Word Death as a baseline skill. It's now a talent.
No. What's my favorite button? It gets all
Shadow
flashy.
Word, Shadow Word, and Shadow Word Death is against 2 other talents that are way better. It's against Auspicious Spirits, which sends the ghosts after whoever has Shadow Word Pain on them, and Shadow Crash. So, and Shadow Crash is going to be used highly in raid battles that have more than 2 targets. So they're pretty much saying, released right now, Shadow Word Death is going to be a don't use.
No.
We'll see if that changes, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
But I know that Shadow Priest is going to be in a state of flux until the next patch. They're still trying to balance it. There's going to be a lot of talent changing between AoE and single target. So that's a little bit there. Harisha, how about you? How's it going with Frostmage? I know you just kind of logged in and started playing.
I'm still trying to figure out what else changed because I really haven't read a whole bunch yet. But it's not terrible. When we did the Mythic a little while ago, I just kind of picked one of the specs for that real quick, and I'm going to go and research it a little bit more and redo it. But I'm used to seeing that my little percentage of what my damage is compared to what percentage I am. Normally it's 15, 20, and it was 35 to 45 when we did Mythic. So I don't know how much that has to do with new talents, old talents, whatever. But I did get Remove Curse, which that just brings me back to vanilla days, to when I used to have to actually pay attention to the raids as a healer and remove curses. So that's going to be fun. And I did get Arcane Intellect back, which I'm great with that. I like that. I missed it when it left. I am very happy, though, that with some of these older buffs that they're bringing back in the game as spells again, that you don't have to carry the mats for those damn things in your bag anymore.
Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
I mean, how many candles did you carry?
A ton.
Yeah,
and Priest got Holy Word or Power Word Fortitude back.
Yay! Now I'll feel like people might want me to join their groups. Yay!
All right.
Warriors got a Battle Shout, and I mean that's kind of maybe the nice thing that they brought back was the in the group wide buffs that certain classes have, and they kept it
right
where it's basically warriors, mages, and priests that get the group wide buffs. So definitely put a spot in there for our utility where pretty much warriors were kind of some raids carried them, other raids didn't. It just depends on how things go, and it wasn't a requirement like saying having a DK and stuff like that in your raid.
Hey, Arcane Brilliance is nice, so mages are a thing.
And hey, priests too. Stamina is never a bad thing to buff in a raid group. 10% too, so 10% more health.
Yeah, and that's what my intellect is, 10, so.
I think it was pretty much standard across the board.
Okay, I didn't see that.
So let's talk a little bit more about some of the changes you've been seeing, Candy. I know you've been playing a lot of beta, and Candy and Lucy have both been playing a lot of beta, of course. But anything in particular about your main that you're excited about?
Well, excited about, I'm curious to see, I'd say it is more accurate. I don't like the change with the cooldowns, that everything's now on the standard cooldown of 1 second, and some things are longer. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the instant cast. I think the only thing that a warrior has that's not on the cooldown is pummel. Your interrupts and stuff like that are still instant cast, and they don't affect the cooldown. But other things are, and they keep changing it so that you're supposed to have recklessness, which is the replacement for the other one at the Warriors. It's the same thing, basically. It gives you some haste, and it gives you a chance to crit, blah, blah, blah. But it takes a second cooldown, so you got to pop, your one cooldown and you got to pop another cooldown. So there's 2 seconds before you even like do your charge at the boss. So you're already losing time on that cooldown. So Blizzard like increases the duration of the cooldown. It's like, stop the nonsense. And I'm sure somewhere along the line, people are going to get, have enough fun with that they're going to, they eventually Blizzard will change it back to, your main cooldowns being instacast and not on the global cooldown. So I'm curious to see how that does play out. I think the class balance, Blizzard and balance has never been matching. And I think none of the classes are going to be anywhere near finished until probably 8.1.5. You'll probably see a big patch to come out and correct things, and they'll be nerfing the daylights out of one class and buffing the daylights out of another class. So those are my expectations, because it's basically the same thing that happens at every single expansion. Your class is going to change dramatically, the big 1.5 patch. And then I tend to see, I'm looking forward to the Battlefront.
Oh yeah, the in-game like Warfront campaign stuff.
Yeah, because right now it drops basically heroic raid level equipment. You get 370 gear out of that.
That's on the beta right now.
That's on the beta.
So yeah, that they might tone that down a little bit whenever that comes out.
Lucy, how about you? I know you've been playing beta with your class, but any major changes to the Holy Pally class that you have been seeing or feeling?
No real changes to it. I mean, obviously they swapped our talents around and stuff like that, just like they did with a lot of classes. One thing that is really different on the talents are, I think it's the tier before the last, the 100 talent. They used to have, Avenging Wrath, which would give me a longer wings, but a shorter cooldown on my Holy Shock. And then, they had other talents there as well. Well, now they actually took a PvP talent, which is Avenging Wrath, which gives you like the 4 wings. So you're like supercharged with wings. They put that in the talent tree now. And they put all these things in here to lower the cooldowns of like Light of Dawn, Holy Shock, and stuff like that. Whenever it doesn't really matter, whenever the effectiveness of them it's crap. So, I mean, the heals with the stat squish, it just made us go right back to where we were at the beginning of Kata. We were the last healers on the totem pole. Nobody really took us to anything unless they needed some kind of utility or a tank healer. So, I mean, that's kind of where they put us at. We were at the top. We're at the bottom. Probably by the end of the X-Pack, we'll be back at the top again, along with, your Holy Priest will be back at the top as far as throughput goes. But,
Well, it always seems that way with every expansion. I felt like Holy Pally and Holy Priest have been the ones that started out close to the bottom because of because of movement first. It's always been a big thing with those 2 classes. But also, they were a little bit more gear dependent on their throughput than some of the other healing classes have been traditionally. So once they start gearing, they're easily the best healers in the raid. But until that happens, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's the same thing, for me at the beginning of Legion. We weren't at the bottom, but I mean, just leveling and getting that gear and then starting like normals, heroics, and then going on to Mythic Plus dungeons. If you don't have the gear to do it, you're going to have a rough time. Mana conservation is a must and stuff like that until later tier rating, and then you get all your gear and then you're fine. So it's a trend like that all the time in every single X-Pack. But, we'll still have spots in raids and stuff like that always, just because of utility. But other than that, they didn't really change anything. Now, Druids, I haven't really got into the whole Druid thing yet because I've been trying to play Guardian with it. And from what Candy's telling me, it's kind of like the dead last on the tanking scale. But I mean, apparently they've changed it. They have a little bit more threat generation and stuff like that. So maybe they cleaned them up. But like I said, I haven't tried it out yet. I'll have to see what goes on with that. So, but as far as Pally's fine. Prop Pally, I mean, they fixed it. They hold threat. They're fine now. So
Yeah, they seems like to me that they did buff the threat recently in beta, which is probably on live now. And actually, I just ran a mythic, and threat wasn't a problem on the live server. So they have boosted the amount of threat that the tanks can generate because it was stupid, right? I mean, it was redundantly stupid that a tank went in there, and they still have it in the game where you're pretty much going to have to pull a whole group. But when the tank goes in and does their threat, it becomes, anybody can pull, like one attack will pull threat right off the tank. And it's like, it was just ridiculously stupid. The tank would pull, Rye would heal him, and Rye would have every single mob in the group on him, and he would just splat. And there's no justification for that. It's just stupid, redundantly bad shit. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, so something happened to me when we were running a Maw of Souls 0 just now. I was Candy tanking, and we had 3 DPS. Risha was there, and I was healing Unholy. And something happened that I've never seen happen in Legion. I threw one of my big heals on someone, and I had threat. So whether that was Candy and his whatever tanking ability, or Candy, you're a good tank. I'm just kidding. Or that's something to be seen, that they've tweaked threat generation. So I guess we'll kind of see how that goes on.
Oh, don't worry, they'll nerf that.
We'll see.
They'll change it, I'm sure, or they'll put little tweaks here and there. But I mean, that's kind of like what they wanted, right? Is let's go back to the baseline. Let's go back to vanilla stuff. Tanks actually have to be aware of people getting threat or taking threat from them and grabbing all those mobs back. Because now it's just a plow. You just go through there and just, hey, let's get this done, and nobody gets any threat or anything. So the tank just keeps running. He doesn't even turn around to stop and tank, actually. So
and I kind of understand that, but on the same token, it was more of building threat, not immediately grabbing threat from the tank on the first heal you did in the instance, which is ridiculous.
And if you remember, Candy, that's what happened. It was the first pull, and I cast a heal on you, and boom, I had threat.
Yeah, one mob pulled off of me, and I think it died before I even had a chance to grip it back.
Oh yeah, it did, but it just that I've never seen my picture go red like that at the opening of an instance before.
Now, go ahead.
It's not like I was going to taunt it off him anyway.
I would have been fine. Go ahead.
Now,
Risha.
I have noticed that, like doing these old dungeons, raids, etc. Like when I farm for my mounts and everything, these bosses are dropping way more loot, not just gold, but like 2 items per one. A couple of them drop double, but they've changed the way that they're dropping loot again, so we're getting a lot more loot and gold.
That's cool.
So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that'll be great. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be changing over the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. I will just point out that the confusing online advice about the Mage Tower, some of it has been proven to be incorrect. The Mage Tower did go down permanently today. So if you didn't get your Mage Tower challenge appearance by today, sorry guys, you're not going to get it. Harisha and Try are so sad.
I'm so sad.
But it does mean new things are coming. I think next week we'll be starting to see the pre-patch content rolling. They're going to give us a week to get used to our changes. But let's go ahead and switch over, guys, to our next topic. I do want to give a quick update to the contest. As far as everyone is concerned, we did have a contest announced last week, a recruitment contest for the podcast for the 5 of us. Let's go over. In last place with 0 votes so far, it is Try Hard. Try, what's happening?
Well, I've been spamming it and stuff and been telling people about it, but whether people are just forgetting to put my name on there or not, but I'm still promoting it, so I'm doing my bit.
What about Snow? You should at least have Snow on there voting for you.
He's being stubborn. That's all I can say. Because when you tried to recruit him to put your name down, I thought it was funny. I'm like, he's not going to do me. Why would he do you? Arr.
Well, we'll work on that. In 4th place, we have Candy with 1 vote.
Yay! Look at me.
In third place, Lucy with 2.
Yay!
You gave me the other one? Did she subscribe?
So there have been some questions about subscribers. I'm going to go with this, guys. We're going to go with the comments. I'm not going to check the subscriber list because I figured out what happened. Some of these people have their subscriber lists hidden, so it doesn't show them when I go click on the subscriber number. It shows some. So if they hid who they subscribe to from other people, I can't see that they subscribe to us.
Wow.
So we're asking people to subscribe, but I'm not going to go hunt people down. So Lucy, third place. In second place, me with 4 votes.
Yeah.
And in first place, because I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, we have 14 podcast subscribers and there were 13 votes.
Woohoo!
And I hold on, not for you didn't get 13. Slow your roll.
Woohoo!
Shut up! I took
but-
one from you.
I will say that I know that 2 of the people who are subscribers that I can see did not vote, which means that we've got one person who's commented that hasn't subscribed, but I'm not going to figure out who it is with all these private subscriptions. Horisha, you have 6.
Ooh, nice, Risha.
You said you were going off of comments.
I
That's
am
what
going
you
off of
said.
comments. You have 6.
Then where'd you get 14 from?
That's our 14 total subscribers.
Oh, total. I thought you meant I had 14.
And we had 13 comments on this podcast with a name voting for a person.
Okay.
Oh
All
my
right.
God,
I'll work
Horisha.
on it some more.
So the voting for episode 6 is now closed. We will be starting voting on episode 7 when it's posted tomorrow. So everyone will have until we record the next podcast to vote. So that is the final tally for episode 1. The people who did vote on episode 6 will be eligible to vote again on episode 7 and 8. So recycle your contacts. I can tell you what I'm doing, guys, as I'm literally whispering people saying, you're voting for me, right? Like I'm talking to people. And so if that's what you got to do, whore yourselves out there, kids.
If you want
No.
to join the guild, you have to vote for Rai in the comments section.
I am not a whore. I am a slut.
Yeah,
You
well,
are both.
your huge tub of butter you had for snow didn't work, so
Just
you might want to
saying.
get a bigger one.
I'm getting out the lube at this point. I'm willing to
Hey.
do what I need to do for that vote.
At least you're not a pothole.
Did you guys know what I did this week with a vote? I got Horisha's daughter to change her vote to me, and then Horisha had to threaten to take her cell phone away in order to get the vote back.
I did not threaten
That's cruel.
anything. I just made the comment. You do realize that I have control of your electronics. That's all I had to say. I didn't say I'm going to take them away if you do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
I just reminded her who her
That
mother was.
25,000 gold was worth threatening her daughter's entertainment,
Her existence, no less.
right?
That's what
Really?
parents do.
I mean, you know what? One day you may actually know. But I got a bunch of damn teenagers in my house, and you do what you got to.
I completely agree.
Thank you. See, he agrees with me for some
I-
change.
I am taking away your friggin' phone.
Okay.
Never told her that.
We're going to move on to our last topic of tonight. We did want to talk a little bit about the experience of being an online gamer and female. I was kind of talking this through with a few people, and I thought this would be like a neat subject because I know every female who plays an online game, especially one where voice functionality is involved, kind of goes through a little bit more than I expected as a dude. So we wanted to talk a little bit more about like what it's like to deal with men or women, I guess, if the other kind of women in the game. Like, what's it like to be a girl and playing World of Warcraft? And that's also what we brought Hot here as well, because she's got some interesting stories on this.
The other kind, isn't that the L?
That's the L of the
Oh, we're not doing
LGBTQAI+.
this again.
So Hot,
Please, I'm already pissed off about the bar on my right-hand side of my screen. Let's not add all these other letters.
Just moved it like not even a foot.
I don't care. It was in sync with my
Oh
other
my God.
things. It's another chunk of shit on my screen.
So let's go ahead and talk about the next topic.
Let's
Not
start with
Horisha's
Hot.
bar.
She's our guest.
Let's start with Hot. So Hot, like, what's it like? I know that I know it's a loaded question, but is there kind of a different experience you feel like you have than the average male WoW player?
I'm gonna be honest. I usually go in not saying I'm female until I know the person. But I'm gonna be honest. Like most people are pretty great. Like I have had no issues, minus like there's occasionally like the creepy guy but I think they're just creepy, like normally, anyways. Not necessarily because they're encountering a female in game. It's just because they're encountering any female. Oh God, that one guy.
Oh my God, yeah, that guy in guild chat that one time.
Blue over gray, yes.
So
I don't remember the story entirely, but you do.
I remember this story. So, and this is like a good example of like the sexual harassment I think some women encounter in online gaming. But Harisha was just meeting Hot, or was like her second time talking to Hot, and she was like, "You remind me of that song, Hot Pants." And it was
And
not.
I had it wrong. It was not hot pants. It was tight pants.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what it was. Yeah.
And so she
I've
says,
got my tight pants. I've got my tight pants on.
You sang it
she
too,
says, "Oh no, it's tight pants, not hot pants." And she goes, "Yep, my pants are not that tight." And this guy who was just sitting in guild chat, he never actually spoke unless he was like randomly talking about going and smoking a blunt or something.
Oh, and I have a thing to say about that too.
And he was like, "Girl, you got that tight ass though," like randomly in voice chat.
It was
And-
like the one thing I missed.
And
That's
I was the
smoky
only
boy.
one that heard it. No one else heard
No,
it.
I heard it too.
Everybody heard it but me. And I
Oh,
went,
you heard
it sounded
We were
hilarious.
there.
You
Yeah, no.
you said you didn't hear it.
Everyone else heard it. It was me that didn't hear it.
Okay, sorry, confusing. It was a long time ago.
Get your facts straight.
So I mean, and then he did the same thing with Try that one time too. Try
Yep.
said, "I'm going to Try was in the chat room with me and him," and Try, I think you said, "I'm going to the ladies. I'll be right back." Do you remember this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
And then he goes, "She's going to take a huge dump."
I laughed so fucking
What?
hard.
Yup.
Oh, he sounds even
What?
better. Like in person, it sounds amazing. Not in person, but in Discord.
What?
Oh,
So does that like happen a lot?
No, he's just like the one creepy exception. And here's the thing, to like give you an idea of just how creepy. So I would like AFK in Discord, and he would just join the chat and not say anything. Wouldn't say hi, wouldn't alert you of his presence, and just sit there. And it's just like I would AFK, and then all of a sudden Ryan would be like, "Hey, he's joined you in chat," and it's just like I didn't hear him. That's really creepy. Yeah, no, he's a weird exception. Like most people are great. The most problems I get is just like excessive friend requests and party invites that I don't want to go to sometimes. That's it.
Oh my
Well,
God.
so let me ask then, inherently, and this is for all three of the ladies in here, do you feel like there's a level of sexism when it comes to your ability in game compared to that of your male counterparts?
I
For
think
me,
so. Oh, sorry.
for me, the way I see it, I'm not a woman, but I think that the expectation is 9 times out of 10 women are casters or healers.
Yeah, you definitely get that a lot. You're a girl and you play a priest. Why aren't you healing? Because I do damage.
Yeah, I mean, I get that a lot too, but I play exclusively tanks and hard carries, and I've never had problems. So, like, it's weird though. It's because I think the big issue now is gaming thoughts, is what my friend calls them. So girls that play games and expect special treatment because they play games.
Ugh,
So like,
I hate those ones.
for example, yeah, like you meet them and they're like, "Oh hey, I'm a gamer girl," and you're just like, "Fuck you, go away. I don't need this." And it's just like it kind of like, for example, I know it's not WoW, but it's Overwatch. So I'm in a party, we're doing great, and like I just want to say, "Hey guys, you did awesome." And then like one guy in my party, because we won, was like, "Oh, look, another gamer girl," and it's like I did better than this guy, and he was just a total asshole, and it's just because of like gaming thoughts that are just like expecting this and going around saying like, "Oh, look, I'm a gamer girl," and just like not even playing the game a lot of time. That's my experiences. That's what ruins it. I've never had that problem like in real life with friends or even in WoW. Like most people are usually like pretty stoked I'm a tank.
I get the sort of ones like when they join the guild, obviously they go, "Oh, it's got girls in it. Are there actually girls here?" I was like, "Yes, there are girls here. Oh, like girls in real life." And I'm like, "Yes." "Oh, who are the girls?" I'm like, "I'm not going to give you that information because you should treat everyone equally and fairly." "Oh, tell me who it is." And then I get all these constant whispers, and then over time I gradually respond to them less.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Usually the girls' question leads to, "Hey, I'm going to ERP with them immediately."
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
really
disgusting.
quick.
Yeah, you do get a lot of, "So how big do you like your man?" I'm just like, I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that and keep gaming.
So in our first
We're not even in
episode,
like RP realms or
In- in-
servers. How does
in
that
our
happen?
first episode, we talked about ERP, and then in our second episode, we made Harisha go do it live while we recorded.
Oh my god, I gotta watch that. That's amazing.
Yep, super fun. So, I mean, I've encountered that too. As obviously being a male healer, I deal with a lot of women actually in the healing. Our raid is very different. We have all male healers except for one, in our main raid from this last expansion. But I think more often than not, in the parties that I've healed with outside of this guild, a lot of the healers have been women, and I think there's a lot of that I've seen that gamer girl, like the one whose shit don't stink because she's a girl who games, but then when, someone's competing, then they maybe try to tank the other person so they could be better.
It doesn't go that well.
It doesn't go that well, and it's
Yeah.
easily noticeable.
Yeah. Oh, Risha, what was it your daughter said about me tanking? It was so sweet. It was a long time ago.
Oh, girl, I don't remember. If it was not last week or yesterday, I can't remember.
Oh, this was like months ago. But
Yeah.
More gin for Harisha.
More gin.
Harisha hasn't even touched gin. Harisha's only had one beverage.
Why is Harisha
What?
talking about herself in the third person?
that's really creepy.
Oh my
Don't
God.
slow your roll with being a gamer girl, Harisha.
I am not a fucking gamer girl. Let me just tell you. I don't
hate
have
that title.
I have a few issues. It's rare, but I will cut you off at the knees if you're a dick to me. I know how to handle these assholes, and I don't get all the creepy stuff. I may get a creepy dude or not, but I mean, it just kind of rolls off my back. I know how I deal with things a little bit differently. There are some creepy dudes, I have to admit, and we do have a few guildies that will pop into rooms with us and never say hello, I'm here.
Or the few
You just
guildies-
let
guildies,
a little bling bling.
or the few guildies who are never in voice chat unless there's a girl in there. I've noticed that too.
I have seen
Who's
that
that?
recently as well. We'll talk later. But I have seen that there are some that come in and join us when certain people are online. And as soon as those people go offline, they randomly disappear and they don't talk very much. They're just listening to the voices, And that's, to each his own.
Ooh.
But I don't really have a big deal because somebody goes and says something creepy to me. I'm going to tell them to shut the fuck up.
I usually just be creepy back. Like
Yes,
really creepy
you
back.
do that to them, they will stop. I promise you.
Or
Yeah,
or
most
you
people
just
think I'm a
pretend
dude
you're
anyway,
Candy.
so it's perfect.
I mean,
Or just
There-
pretend you're Candy. You're a hot chick character that's wearing like pretty much nothing. When they try to give you gold, be like, yeah, I'm an old dude.
Oh yeah, I can't.
And then when they try and give you gold, you say thank you and then say F you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I take that goal.
There are ways to do that.
Oh,
He
that
was
happened to me in
dancing in
RuneScape long ago too.
he was dancing in Oregon, got money.
I
But
know,
there's
y'all
a
told
naked
me
on top of
this.
loop on like a mailbox. Of course he's gonna get
Yeah.
money.
Oh my God.
All right.
10,000 gold for dancing on a mailbox.
That is so much money, dude. Is this like actually on Pradmore?
What was that?
Yeah.
Is this on
Yeah.
Pradmore? Because I always have money issues. If I knew that's all it took, then like
So Candy claims.
Well, he was.
Try was
I
on.
didn't see it happen, so if I didn't see it and there weren't any pictures or screenshots, I think he's making up stories.
I kind of believe it. I remember him mentioning to me that he's like, yeah, no, I told him I was like, an old dude, and they're like, I don't care, babe. Well, just give me this gold or something. Yeah.
Well, sometimes
All right.
they think I'm lying to them or something. It's like, dude, I'm an old fat guy. Leave
Why
me
are
alone.
you always lying?
I try to say that.
They're probably old fat dudes too, and they just want to rub fat together.
Oh
That's
God!
right.
All right. Host
That is
calls
a
time.
beautiful image in my mind. I'm not gonna lie.
And with that, we're going to go ahead, guys, and start our wrap up. It's been an interesting discussion, but I'm going to leave it with two old fat guys rubbing their bellies together.
We need to
Fat
continue this
mayonnaise.
chat.
He,
All right,
he
so-
didn't mean bellies, but anyway.
Oh, good. I
God!
didn't think bellies. I thought like the whole
Yeah,
front
like
of body.
Okay, so
well, if they're
keep
fat
it.
guys and they've got bellies, they can't very well have the other things going.
Oh God! It's like
Well, the thing is, like, if you can pick it up, and they could probably like
Yeah.
push them in between each other's rolls. Right?
mayonnaise helps.
What?
so.
Mayonnaise
Okay.
helps.
I thought it was
Guys.
flour. Oh wait, that's for girls.
Oh my goodness. The girls have totally, completely been the creepy ones now.
The girls have gone wild.
Over
Crazy.
fat dudes squishing their fat rolls in between each other's.
Okay,
Ice
so,
cream off
With
the top
mayonnaise.
of the wind.
guys, we're gonna wrap up because we're at time. As thrilling as this is, so keeping in mind that Mage Tower is down and a lot of the things like getting your field medic title are over and done with, let's go ahead and go over, keeping in mind that folks over the next month are going to have a lot of downtime in game. They're not going to be raiding as much and learning and noodling around with their new changes. What's something that somebody should focus on for the rest of their time in game? Let's start with
I
Tryhard.
know. What they should do is, if they have not done already, done exploration for every single zone that's currently out there, because when the next one drops, you'll have new stuff to explore.
All right, so do your exploration achieves. Harisha.
Sorry. The fishing artifact. The artifact power is still on your fishing pole.
Okay, so work on getting and leveling your artifact fishing pole.
Yes.
Let's go to Hot Pants.
Less of a game thing, more of like a prepare for Blizzard to shit the bed thing. Backup add-ons and any kind of things like that, because who knows how well those are going to work at the end, and if anything gets deleted, because when I got suspended, they actually got rid of all my add-ons at the same time. So
Wait, why'd you get suspended?
You got suspended?
my name was inappropriate, apparently.
What was it?
Here's the thing, is again, Horn Pub makes sense, but they actually suspended Huddle Pantsuit for the name. And I'm like, how's that inappropriate? And they would not give me a straight answer. And I fought with them for like a week.
Okay.
Horn Pub is funny, but it says straight ban.
It's not, here's the thing, how I saw it is you're not even supposed to be on the website unless you're an adult. Therefore, it shouldn't offend you unless you're using YouTube perverts.
Oh, it's Pornhub, but reverse.
Yeah, because I was a demon hunter.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so back up your add-ons.
Yeah.
You have one more?
Oh, no, I was just going to say I have to change my paladin because I changed it to Patty Party. That's definitely a ban now.
Oh.
But go on. Yeah.
Well, create a level 1 character with Panty Party on it on that server, and then do the transfer, because it'll force a name change on your second character.
Oh, that's really smart. Thank you.
So let's go to Lucy.
Well, I kind of thought Harisha was going to say Mage Tower, but you kind of prefaced this whole thing. But anyways,
That's why I prefaced it.
yeah, it was going to be funny. But yeah, make alts, the Void Elves, Light Forged Journey, the whatever, the Nightborn, and all that stuff. Turn on your War mode and go start leveling.
Okay, so use War mode and level some alts. I'm gonna say work on getting some pet battle achievements, and finally Candy.
See, you stole my shit.
That's why I went first.
I'm just going to repeat it. I'm going to say, don't pay attention when people said that the pet charms are going away, because they're not. And I think somebody in this podcast told me that the pet charms are going away, and they're
I
not.
was mimicking what Lucy said to me.
I was told that they were going away, but I did not say pre-patch versus actual expansion.
And they're not. So I'm going to get me that mirror, and I'm going to make a naked blood elf female, turn her into a
corgi,
put a leash on her, and watch her wipe her butt at Krause's.
No, this is something everyone should do, though.
All right, guys.
Wait, I forgot something.
What?
Go onto YouTube and say Harisha sent you.
Oh, fuck you, Harisha.
Fight me.
As a reminder, our contest is still active, so remember to subscribe to our podcast and comment on this episode and the next episode with which one of the cast sent you for your vote. The winning cast member with the most votes over 3 weeks will get 25,000 gold. Well, I guess they'll get 20,000 gold because it's 5,000 given to them by the other 4 members of the podcast.
Might as well dance in a
So
mailbox. But
I really want Candy's money because he would not let that go if his life depended on it. So please vote for me.
Try.
Candy tastes like vinegar.
And with that, guys, we're going to go ahead and say goodnight. Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.
Harisha!
Bye, guys. Say bye again.
there will be more
That's
talk
so cute.
about those 2 fat dudes later.
Yes.
If anyone's interested.
We will talk about those fat dudes.